Today in the Quadratec Academy, we're going to show you to take the fender flares off your 2018 or newer Jeep Wrangler JL. Oh, God. Hey, Rob here for Quadratec.com. Welcome again to the Quadratec Academy. Today we're tackling a job that I bet a lot of you guys out there are going to encounter at some point during the course of owning your 2018 or newer Jeep Wrangler JL. Whether you're looking to change up the look of your Wrangler or looking to fit larger wheels and tires, you're probably going to want some more clearance in here, and a way to achieve that is, of course, by installing a set of aftermarket fender flares. But before you can install them, well, you're going to need to remove your factory fenders from your Jeep, and today, that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do. We're going to be removing both the front and rear factory fenders from our 2019 Jeep Wrangler JL Unlimited Sport. Now, we've already gone ahead and test fit our new 35-inch tire on this Jeep, and we have a substantial amount of rubbing happening right here on these front bumper filler panels here. This is also the perfect time while you're in here working to go ahead and get these out of the way. Odds are they're probably not going to match up very well with your new fenders anyhow. And if you want to find out how to remove those, well, you can click that info button to check out the other video that we've already made showing you how to get those out of the way. Now, you are going to need a few tools to get this job done. You're going to need a panel tool to remove some push fasteners inside of the fender. You're also going to need an 8mm socket, a 10mm socket, a socket wrench, and a small extension come in handy. I'm going to be using an impact driver just to make the process go a little bit quicker. And then there are a few extra tools that might make the job a little bit easier for you. A magnetic tray can be helpful at keeping all your fasteners in order. You may need a drill and a 5/16 drill bit. We'll come back to that in a little bit. And of course, a flashlight can be handy, especially working up here in the dark inner fender liner. We're going to go ahead and get started by grabbing our panel tool so we can remove this first push fastener right here at the front of our inner fender liner. Next, we can go ahead and grab that 8mm socket and your socket wrench, and we've got two fasteners that we need to remove from our inner fender liner right up here, and they can be found just behind your marker light on the fender. Next, we can grab our 10mm socket, and we've actually got four fasteners that we need to remove. We have one found really close to that second 8mm that we just removed, tucked up here just behind our inner fender liner. We have a second accessible through this hole in the fender liner right here. And then we have two more found right up at the very top of the inner fender liner, one towards the front and one about halfway back. At this point, we're ready to go ahead and start removing our fender from your Jeep. However, there may be one additional step that's dependent on the new flares that you're going to be installing on your Wrangler. If they require you to reuse this inner fender liner, well, now is the perfect time to go ahead and separate that inner fender from the outer fender by drilling out these 8 plastic rivets along the edge of your fender flare. And to do that, well, we're going to be using our drill and our 5/16" drill bit. Now, if your new fenders do not require the reuse of this inner fender liner, you can skip this step and move on to the next. Of course, safety first. Now that we've drilled out all of our plastic rivets, we have 6 more push fasteners that we need to remove that'll finally separate this inner liner from the outer flare. We have one right at the front, just behind the marker light here. We have 3 along the top edge, and finally we have 2 more down at the back of the flare. Now at this point, if you have all the clips out of the way, you should be able to go ahead and grab your inner fender liner and simply pull it out of the way. Now at this point, we're ready to go ahead and pull the flare away from the body of our Wrangler. There is one electrical connector to be aware of, and that's found right under the fender right here. Now if you went ahead and pulled your inner liner out like we did, you can go ahead and disconnect that now by pulling back on that red locking tab and disconnecting that connector. If you left your inner fender in place, you can disconnect that after you pull the fender away from the body. Just be aware that that connector is back there. You don't want to stress or strain those wires. Now the fender is held to the body of your Jeep with a series of plastic clips that run the entire length of the fender. And there's really no other way to separate these aside from grabbing a hold of the fender and giving it a good firm tug. You're going to hear a lot of popping noises as you do this, but that's okay. Even if some of these clips break during your removal, you're not going to be reusing them with a set of aftermarket flares. If for some reason you're going to be reinstalling your factory flares, well, you may need to go ahead and order some replacement clips. So without putting this off any longer, grab a hold and starting at the front. That's all it takes to get the flare off the front of your Wrangler. Now as you can see, we've got a couple of these clips left. I'm going to set our flare down. Grab a nylon panel tool so we don't scratch any of the paint. We can go ahead and get the rest of these clips out of the way. And with that, we can give our fender of our Jeep a good wipe down, and it'll be ready to go for the installation of our new flares. We're going to go ahead and get to the removal of our rear flares. Now the rear fenders on our JL are even easier to remove than the front fenders. In fact, they're only held in place with a series of plastic Christmas tree type fasteners on the inner fender, and then of course the outer fender is held to the body with those plastic clips as well. Now just like in the front, we're going to be separating our inner fender liner from the outer fender because we're going to be reusing that with the new flares we're going to be installing later. And to do that, we're going to start by removing these two Christmas tree fasteners, one at the front in the bottom and one at the rear in the bottom. Now, if you're going to be leaving your inner fender liner attached to the outer fender, you can leave those in place, and you'll simply need to remove the 4 Christmas tree fasteners across the bottom of the fender liner at the back with 2 additionals tucked up in the top here. With those Christmas tree fasteners out of the way, we could go ahead and remove the fender from the body if we didn't need to separate this inner fender liner, but since we are going to be separating it, well, now's a great time to go ahead and grab our drill and drill out those same plastic rivets that we found on the front fender so we can separate the inner liner from the outer flare. Grab our safety glasses, our drill, go ahead and get to it. Now at this point, with that inner fender out of the way, we're good to go ahead and remove the outer fender away from the body. Now just like we did with the front fender, simply get yourself a good firm grip on the front of the fender flare here and pull straight away, and that'll separate the flare from the body. Now if you've got any clips left on the body, grab your panel tool, pop those out of the way. We can go ahead and give the body of our Jeep a nice wipe down to clean it up here. We'll go ahead and repeat the same steps on the passenger side. That's really all there is to removing the factory fenders from your 2018 or newer Jeep Wrangler JL. If you guys have any comments or questions about removing your fenders, you can leave those for us in the comment section below or contact us at any of the options on the screen. You'll definitely want to hit that subscribe button so you're sure to catch all the latest right here from the Quadratec Academy and much more. Till next time, I'm Rob. I'll see you guys out on the trail. Oh, well, yeah, I was talking through it.
5, 4.
What happened to the count? I was waiting.
Oh, you are.
No, we're not counting now?
Rolling.
Ready? Hold on. Somebody count me down. Anybody?